Most pop music is built on a 4-bar Western loop, but Ed Sheeran's Sapphire attempts something far more complex. Today on Melodic Logic, we're going to be breaking down the bridge between Western pop and the 16-beat Hindustani rhythm, Tintal. Is this just a catchy hit or something brilliant in the global music? Let's listen to the logic. Before I get started, this isn't your typical pop song. It's more like a cross-cultural experiment. Ed actually traveled to India to work with artist Arijit Singh and specifically learned to sing Punjabi for this track, and not just use it for sampling. Stay till the end. I've got a couple things that I want to discuss and bring up that you might not know. So let's get started.
You're glowing, you color and fracture the light. You can't help but shine.
So it's actually a sitar.
I know that you carry the world on your back, but look at you tonight.
So real quick, I just wanted to point out, typically when you add or you have a sitar and you have a guitar, sometimes they'll cancel each other out in the song. It kind of will make it muddy. So what I'm pretty sure that they've done is they've put a high pass on the sitar and they've left the lower end on the guitar to provide kind of this fuller back end. So we're actually getting a good separation between the sitar and the guitar itself. So let's continue.
The lights, your face, your eyes, exploding like fireworks in the sky. Sapphire, touching on your body while you're pushing on me. Don't you in the party? I could do this all week. We'll be dancing till the morning, go to bed, we won't sleep. Chumma, kiss it, daddy, body.
Okay, a couple things. First, the chumma is actually converted to shining bright like a star. But the other thing I wanted to also discuss is how the percussion's done. Typically in a pop song, we use a 4/4 beat and tempo. And we kind of have that in the beginning of the chorus, but then it actually changes to the Tintal, which is the 16 beat. And we can hear that because there's not like a bump, 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 bump like you would typically have. We hear this bump, dun 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 bump, dun 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 bump, dun dun dun. So it's sprinkled in there. So we're actually introducing the 16 beat progression into this. So we're not sampling. This is actually being played, and they're using the tabla. It's an Indian drum. All right, so let's keep going. I just wanted to point that out. Pushing on me, don't you in the party? I could do this all week. We'll be dancing till the morning, go to bed, we won't sleep. Chumma, kiss it, daddy, body. So we heard that again, shining bright like a star. The other thing is that around 41 seconds in the middle of the chorus, we've actually introduced more bass as a beat. I just want to point that out. So let me go back. We're going to go back to 31, so about 20 seconds back, so we kind of get this full. And I'll point that out again to see if you've noticed it. And it's something that you can hear specifically really well in headphones, along with if you had a good sub or bass with your stereo system, you'd probably be able to pick that up. But it does actually vary between the two. So it's our typical, not too deep. You can hear that peppered in. And then here, now we've got that low rumble. Karma reached out into our hearts and pulled us to our feet now. You know the truth is, we could disappear anywhere as long as I got you there. When the sun dies, till the day shines. When I'm with you, there's not enough time. You are my spring flower, watching you bloom while we are surrounded, but I can only see the light. Again, just to point out that beat. So, we start out as your typical pop song, and then we've kind of molded into this multicultural, like I mentioned. song, and he's being true to this. As I mentioned, he did study and really try to learn, and I would say he nailed Punjabi as a language for singing the lyrics of this song. But there's more I could go into that, but it's actually really impressive, especially with how full it is, and we've got so much musical mixture that's going on because he's really introduced these Indian instruments, the tabla, the sitar, maybe a kanji. Okay, sorry.
Your face, your eyes, exploding like fireworks in the sky. Sapphire, touching on your body while you're pushing on me.
There's that 16 beat.
Do this all week. We'll be dancing till the morning, go to bed, we won't sleep. Chumma, 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 kiss it, daddy, body.
Add more bass. Gets fuller.
Don't you in the party? I could do this all week. We'll be dancing till the morning, go to bed, we won't sleep. Chumma, 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 kiss it, daddy, body. You're glowing. You're glowing. Your color and fracture the light. Look at you tonight.
So, really quick, the song is called Sapphire. And the lines that he just said, you're colored and fractured. So, when I look at this album, it's different from all the other albums he's done. Sort of. Right, we've typically had the last several albums, many albums, he's kind of had this mathematical equation, right? The Division, for example, the Division album. So it was math-based. He's actually changed this now. We are in a media style. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in the end. So it's interesting that not only lyrically, I know we're talking about a woman in this experience and dancing and spending time together, that he's also lyrically introducing kind of the changes of the music style that he's adding in this new era of his music. So, yeah. I just really, really love how layered it is. And listening to it on headphones, you really get the spatial atmosphere from it. And every instrument is extremely clean and clear, which again, you don't always have in a great track. Sometimes it'll get muddy, but let's continue because we just actually I'm going to go back because we broke out for a second. I'll just bring this out. I'll play it again real quick. We can hear the sitar being plucked in the background. So I know I just stopped to where I left off. But that whole 4-chord progression he used, I'm pretty sure it starts out in a C sharp, or the second chord's a C sharp. But it's sustained. Again, if we were to look at your typical pop song, it follows, again, a rhythm, a sequence, something that we're used to. And we might not, we'll find out if this actually pays off. But as we're listening to this song, we're so used to how, again, a pop song would typically go because they're typically fast-paced, and this is, but it continues that. It continues to build and continues to build. And then you have your payoff. What I love about what Ed has done here is that we've had so much music and lyrics added to this, and now we're basically coming to a pause. And I'm pretty sure it's so that we can really experience when he uses the word fireworks, which comes up shortly. I just love that this is the way that this has been broken down. It's great. So listen for, I think it's Fireworks in the Sky. So this is Arijit singing. Okay, real quick again, I'm sorry. If you've seen the video, it's actually not translated with what he's saying and what's being said. And I like that he did that, because if you're listening to this for the first time and watching the video for the first time, he doesn't want you to be taken away from the music experience. So having the lyrics included, you might now be extremely focused on what the lyrics are and not what's occurring in the music and enjoying the experience. So I love that was actually separated. So to me, he made the artistic decision to not include what the translation or what the subtitles were for that. So it's more about, again, enjoying the music, flowing with it, even going along with it lyrically in that manner. So I really like that they did that. And then the other thing is that if you are listening to this in headphones, as Arijit is singing, we get this really cool spatial atmospheric, the way that it's been, I can't think of the right word, the way that it has been panned throughout the ears. So typically you've got mono, which is going to be the exact same sound on both ears, just straight to the middle. There's not much depth. We do stereo, which adds your left and right. And then we can really get, into 7.1, 8.1. We can get very large in an environment to give us this nice depth and atmosphere. And we really, really get that as we're transitioning between all these elements. It's brilliant.
Don't you in the party? I can do this all week. We'll be dancing till the morning, go to bed, we won't sleep. Chumma, 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 que Sitar,
I'm getting chill bumps. It's a great build. Then we switch. Got rid of the bass and the deep drums kick. Yeah, I have chill bumps. So, okay. A couple of things. I really, really like the way that this builds up. I am a sucker for songs that build like that. That's one of the reasons why I like Flight so much from Lifehouse. Another reason why I love Echoes from Pink Floyd. That's a lot more drawn out. But there are so many examples. I love the build because it becomes cinematic, especially the way that he's accompanied the background vocals to kind of really help build that. It's repetitive. We feel like the first time I heard this, and I didn't watch the video, I felt like I was taking off and like on a hang glider off of a mountain over the trees and just soaring. It was, oh God, it was transcending. And I think that that's great. The one thing that is different, especially compared to a typical pop song, when we get to a build, there's normally a payoff, or at least we come back down with a punch. It did not do that. And it took me a second because I didn't like it at first. I want to build. I want the payoff. I want this build to explode. But I think after thinking about it, I like that he did it because it does kind of lead in to this music experience, a new era of his. So yeah, it's typically you would get a payoff, or you would at least end back on the original home note, so to speak. And we didn't get that. And it's almost a trick to make you keep listening to the rest of the songs in this album. I really dig that. This was such a gorgeous song. This, by the way, so one thing you might not know is this was the first song to actually be recorded in Goya. So he split up where this album was recorded. Some, I want to say New York. The other part was in Goya. And this was the first one from that for this album, which was pretty cool. I just like the way that he's done the rhythm, really the music. This is not only is it a feel-good song, both lyrically and musically. I really enjoy how it's multicultural. He's injected so many things and added so many things. I mean, if you would think about a typical musician and a typical artist, if they wanted to utilize some sort of cultural music, they might just add the beats to it or sample it. Okay, so that works well. Okay, um, but he didn't do that. Not only that, he actually utilized the instruments. Some people may have sampled the instruments or used them through a MIDI controller, and I don't think that would have been the best thing. Using these specific instruments in the original rawness of it and providing it into this experience. And not only that, changing the tempo of your typical 4/4 pop song. So there are so many layers that he's added into this song. It is really impressive. And it's something I listen to quite often just because it's feel good and there's so much going on. The other thing is, as I mentioned earlier, he's shifting eras for this new era. We're no longer in mathematical. Now we're looking more into stereo era, looking at it from the perspective. So this first album is called Play. Presumably, we're going to have follow-up albums, right, that are going to be like pause, rewind, fast forward. So I like that this is a different take on a lot of the methodical stages and steps that he's taken with his past albums. The other thing that I thought was pretty interesting that you might not know, during his concert, because he is on tour now, he would typically stay on one stage. And now he's actually shifting between stages. Well, he's always used an effect called a loop. And all that does is, just like it sounds like, it creates a loop. So he plays the chords, and it will loop those chords, and he can play on top of that. But because in this particular tour, he's multi-staging it, he couldn't do that. So he actually worked with, I can't remember the name of the company, to create what is called the Sheeran loop. So he actually now has his own effect pedal that creates this loop so that he can seamlessly move from stage to stage and not have any issues with that. I thought that was pretty cool. The last thing is, I mentioned that he did not do any type of translation for some of the lyrics because it was, again, about the experience and enjoying this road and progress that we're making in this track. But just to break out some of the things, because I do love the words overall for this song. But the ones where we start out they're in the background as he's doing part of the chorus. It's actually, this is around it starts at the 1 minute 43 mark. What he's actually saying for this particular section is, "Two beautiful eyes captivated me. The moonlight shines brightly." And that's when it says in the background, "You're glowing. Give me a sip of light," somewhere along those lines, "and my life becomes a celebration." So I haven't really talked about the lyrics because I was so blown away with the music. But I at least wanted to come through and do a translation to kind of give you an idea, just in case you didn't already know and hadn't looked this up. So that's where we are. We're, again, lyrically, we're talking about meeting this person, and we want to spend time with them and enjoy their experience and stay up all night. And they're now further getting deeper, just how beautiful they are, how they're radiant with this light, and they just want to be in their presence to basically give me a sip of the light, and their life becomes a celebration. So the next part is, it starts out kind of somewhat reversed in the order, where he's speaking, "You're glowing," and then it says, "You wear a fringe of amber. You color and fracture the light." And he says fracture quite a bit to this. And after that, it's what is said is translated to made a suit of gold or replacements. And then, "But look at you tonight. And then the next part that's translated is, let the rays be colored and shaped, which is nice. And then lastly, there's no beginning. So right before they're singing say the word sapphire, it actually says you dance like a peacock, which I thought was pretty cool, meaning it's boisterous, flamboyant, energetic, colorful. The last part, this is around the 2-minute mark. It does specifically start with Punjabi, so it's actually translated to, the darkness recedes when I raise my eyelids, meaning, well, they're opening their eyes. They're letting the light in. The next part is, you walk around with a bow on your finger, which I thought was interesting. And then, how did God embed sapphires into those eyes? Again, Sapphire, the name of the song, just further exemplifying how radiant and blue these person's eyes are. And then lastly, like a bright shining star, which we already knew for Sapphire, the Chama Chama. So what did you think? Had you heard this song before? Do you like Ed Sheeran? He is an incredible musician, because if you listen to his work over the years, it is molded, but it is always sounded brilliant. I mean, he's always had #1 tracks on his albums, which is impressive, because if you listen over, there's so much variance. I'll put it at that. And I think he's an incredible artist and musician and guitarist and singer. And what he did with this song, I just thought was incredible. So if you haven't heard it, take a listen in its entirety without me interrupting, but also take a look at the video, because it is really energetic. I like it. So I might be doing some further deep dives into a couple of other songs, like, the A-Team, maybe. There's a few others. So let me know what you think. Is there one you'd like for me to maybe break down and discuss? Did you like this? Do you think I got any of this right? Did some of it make sense? Did you learn something new from it? I hope you enjoyed it. Well, I greatly appreciate you listening to Melodic Logic. Have a good rest of the day. Take care.